For ERL F1. We're back after a week off due to a disappointing turnout last week in Monaco, shall we say. And we've got 12 drivers here today to try and see if we can battle out to see who's the fastest around Canada. I am a little bit ill today, so please be wary of the coughing and the ill-sounding voice. I will try and do my best to get through it. As you go into qualifying, it looks like a lovely day here in Canada. Hello, Mitchell. Not sure about the rain though, the race though, because of course we had nice dry qualifying in F2, but then heavy rain in the race. Be interesting to see what we've got this time around. Wet race start, apparently, according to Calic. Is that full wet or intermediates? First guy out on track is ZR Mercedes or Hayden Tutt. No, he's been beaten out of it by the Toro Rosso of KLC. New to F1, promoted from F3 after pretty much dominating the first 4 or 5 races. Aaron Collingwood making his F1 debut today. He's proven he's very, very quick with his performances across F3 this season. Yes, Mitchell, it is Johnny, even though it doesn't sound like him. We're going to keep an eye on KLC, see how he does, his first race. Got it down the long back straight, it's been quite an aggressive outlap from him. And how aggressively he's going to take the final chicane as well on his outlap. Of course, he doesn't want to cut it and invalidate yet, he takes that fine. And he's about to start his first flying lap. Using the shortest line to turn 1 seems a bit weird because you lose a bit of top speed doing that. Yeah, Mitchell, I'm ill. That's why. Do my best to soldier on. Again, good line through turns 3 and 4 there. And again into 6 as well, braking nice and early, taking a good amount of curb on the inside. Not been a bad lap so far, looks quite tidy. See what the sector 2 time is. Oh, looks like he might have cut that corner. That could well be an invalidation. Let's have a look at his telemetry. No, he's still going full beans on the lap. See what else is out on track. Hayden Tutt, of course, just behind him. In the Renault, don't think he's invalidated his lap, but does get very sideways out of the hairpin. It's always a very difficult traction zone now. KLC taking it nice and easy through the final chicane. I don't know who did invalidate his lap. We'll find out when his lap time goes on the board. A 1:10.3. Not a bad start at all. ZR Mercedes crossed the line with a 10.6. Who's going to be next to cross the line? Looks like it's going to be Ben Clay. No, there's another car in front of him, which is the Williams of Bart, or Karai Karam, who's playing as Porkis today. 1:11.7 for him. Ben Coles in the Ferrari with a 1:11.0. Ate with a 1:11.0 as well. Shane Odeyemi with a 10.3, current championship leader, and Killian puts in a 10.3 as well to put himself second. So some good early lap time set here by the F1 guys. Mike invalidated a 1:10.1, which would have put him fastest. Who else just put in a good lap there? That was Jana Calicrist with a 1:11.6, puts himself 7th. Leon goes and puts himself, is that Leon or is that Yuan? I'm not sure which one's which out of the 2 McLaren drivers. Goes and puts himself in P4. ZR Mercedes improves. So an improvement on his time from Hayden. up to a 110.4. Shea also improving to a 110.120. Now has hardly any fuel left to get around the rest of the lap. But he's currently provisionally pole. And I say that, and then Killian Brady puts in a 109.954. Too much going on for me to actually keep track of what's going on here, as Mike is going for another fast one. He's taken a cautious lap to then go for another flyer. So we'll keep an eye on him, as he's going to be the only person really doing a flying lap at this time. As Francis has just left the pits, and Louis is still sat in the pits. No, Louis just started his flying lap on super soft tyres. 19.2, sector 1 from Mike. That's pretty quick. Invalidated his first lap. He won't want to make the same mistake again. Yeah, good line there. Very good line. Very aggressive on the throttle as well. Getting the back end to slide out slightly. 41.2 middle sector. Calic apparently crashed on his lap, which is why it's currently slowest of everybody. Down the long straight into the final chicane. Oh, maybe took a bit too much curve there. I reckon that might be invalidated again. We'll see. Mike taking again the short line. Crosses the line with a 196. No, it was not invalidated. And it goes pole position by 0.3 of a second. That's emphatic, that is. Louis now coming through on the super softs. What kind of lap time can he do? He's on the harder compound to everybody else, but it still looks like it's going to be a very quick lap. 110.0. Third place for Louis on the super soft tyres. That is a fantastic lap. Where's he pulled that out from? That would have been pole position in F2 on the super soft tyres. Francis getting a little bit out of shape out of the final chicane, as he's going to cross the line to do a 110.3. I reckon that back end loss cost him at least a tenth. Which could have been the difference between putting him ahead or behind of Aaron, who is of course position 5. So far in the qualified rundown of the first runs, we have Michael Romanidis in pole with a 109.6. Killian Brady, 109.9 in second place. Louis Welsh with a brilliant qualifying lap of a 10.0 in third. Shane Odeyemi in fourth with a 110.1. Aaron Collingwood, new to F1 of course, promoted from F3 with a 110.3 in fifth. We have Francis McGinn in the Force India in sixth place. Not sure whether he's going on for another lap now. He's 0.2 off on this lap at the moment. Hayden Tutt, who's just coming back out on track, in 7th place with a 110.4. We have... I don't need to remember who this guy is. Yeah, Leon Schneider, that is it. In 8th place with a 110.5. Bart Kodalida, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that surname, so I'm just going to call him Bart in 9th with a 110.6. Ate Kalpinen in 10th with a 111.0. Ben Coles in 11th, 111.0. Disappointing lap for him. He'll want to be way faster. AOR Tier 1, of course. We know how quick he is. And Janne Laxon, Caligrist in 12th and last with a disappointing 111.6. He'll definitely want to improve on that. So that's how the rundown looks so far as the drivers are coming out for their second runs. Ate looks like he's going to be the first person to start his flying lap. He's coming up to the final chicane now. No, he's going straight into the pits. So it's going to be Hayden to go out first. Must have forgotten to change his tyres, Ate. So Hayden first out on track. Start a flying lap. 19.2 is the benchmark first sector time set by Mike. Looks like he got a decent exit out of turn 2 there. Into the tricky turn 3 and 4. You don't want to cut these because they're very strict on the track extending there. Taps the wall on the exit of 4. That might lose him a bit of time. And I've got no real delta for his lap time, which is brilliant. Thank you, game. Same with Aaron. I've no idea what his first sector time was, but at least I've got his lap time delta coming up. There we go. We've got Hayden's lap time now. Taking a lot of curve into turn 8. Again, no doubt on whether he's up or down on his current best. Same with Aaron. Jan's also has just started his flying lap as well. We'll keep an eye on Hayden to see if he improves. Currently 7th place with a 110.4. Has 0.8 to find if he's going to threaten the pole position. Why buckle, Cloudy? What did I do? Does improve, but I think he only improved by 1,000th of a second there, ZR Mercedes. Interesting. We'll see whether Aaron will improve. No, looks like he abandoned that lap. Cloudy, that was my first ever race on a wheel. What do you expect? Shane Odiemi improves. Does he? No, he doesn't. Stays on a 110.1. If anybody else is on a flying lap. Yeah, Bart currently on a flying lap. 1.5 tenths up on his personal best in Sector 1. Looks like he's on quite a quick one. Mike also on a fast lap, but a little bit slower than his fastest Sector 1 time. So we'll keep an eye on Bart, currently 10th fastest. 10.5 up in Sector 1. Only 600ths up in Sector 2, so might have made a mistake somewhere in Sector 2. Goes very deep into the hairpin as well. It's going to allow him to get more straight line speed down the straight, but he'll have lost time by missing that apex. Making for the final chicane. Not taking the best of lines. You need to try and make that chicane as straight as possible to get it right. But Bart's going to cross the line and do a 110.6. So not much of an improvement. Only improves by 0.03 of a second. Keeps him in 10th for the time being, as Shane is out after losing it in the final chicane. And Mike again improves to a 194. This is fantastic from Mike. Absolute masterclass in showing us how to do it. As Killian starting his fast lap. Yana improves to 6th for the 110.2. Going out the final chicane, is he going to improve again? He is indeed. 110.0 puts him 3rd. Great lap from Jan Laxon. Defending F2 champion from last season. Doing brilliantly well this season. Currently 5th in the standings. Let's have a look at Francis. He's about to finish his flying lap. Oh, a little bit sideways on the exit. Across the line with a 110.3, does not improve. Almost matches his time. Let's have a look at Killian, because he's going to cross the line soon. And he's 2nd fastest. He needs to find half a second if he's got any chance of beating Michael here. Very good chicane though. That was some very good speed carried through the chicane from Killian. He's going to come across the line to do a 110.7. It's not enough. It was invalidated as well, so it doesn't improve his time. It could have been a 197. Louis is the only other person now that can beat Mike. He's got to find 6/10 from his super soft lap, which is highly possible with the speed in which he had on that super soft lap. Highly possible for him to actually get pole position here. Using a lot of curb, maybe too much. That's going to fuck him up. Pardons my language, but that has completely ruined his lap. 198. The sideways moment, and I think he got invalidated through that final chicane as well. So Louis will be starting on the super soft tyres with a 110.0. But Michael Romanidis pole position by half a second over Killian Brady in 2nd, Jan Laxon in 3rd, Louis Welsh in 4th, Aaron Collingwood 5th, Shane Odiemi, the championship leader, down in 6th, Ate Kalpinen 7th, Francis McGinn in 8th, Hayden Tutt in 9th, Leon Schneider rounds out the top 10, and then we have Bart in 11th and Ben Coles rounding out the grid. Unable to improve, seems to have made a bit of a mess of this qualifying session. Not driving as well as he could. But it does give him free choice in the race. And we know his racecraft is very good, he's proven that in the past. Oh yeah, there we go, intermediate start for the race, as was said by Calic. I actually forgot about that at the end of the qualifying. So that kind of makes Louis' decision to qualify on the supers even more strange. Just counting down, getting ready for the start of the race. Anybody who's in the chat, put your favourites to win or your podium predictions for me. My money's probably on Mike, Killian and probably Shane, because we know his racecraft is fantastic. No formation lap. Oh yeah, no formation lap. Didn't have the one light on to start the formation lap. That was a bit strange. Might get a very slow getaway on the formation lap. Taking it nice and easy. So far the championship looking close, at least between the top two. The two Red Bull pairings. Two Red Bull drivers of Mike and Shane currently lead the championship. Shane in the lead on 51 points, Mike in second on 50. Then in third place we have Lakitu, Michael Ruiz, who is not here today. 39 points. Then got a 16-point gap to Hayden, which is ZR Mercedes, in fourth. His Renault teammate Kalek Rist, or Jan, is in fifth. Gattis, or Mazeus, is sixth. Louis, seventh. Ben or Clay is in 8th, Ate or Atkow is 9th, and Zalen down in 10th in the championship. The only other 3 drivers to score points are Tony or Cliffy, Leon, which is Striker Gamer, and Ollie, who has just left us today. Mike, Louis and Shane is the top 3 predictions from Mitchell. Quite a strong, yeah, I can kind of agree with that, because Louis had some fantastic pace in the in qualifying, to qualify with a 1:10.0 on super softs. Hello Bugatti. It says that KB is 1.5 minutes behind Mike. And it also says that Shane is 1.5 minutes behind KLC. This game is absolutely fantastic. Where is KLC? He hasn't rejoined the grid yet. Well, he has, but he was right at the back of the field. Intermediate tyres will make this interesting. I don't know how long it's going to stay intermediate for. That's the only problem with being a commentator on this game. As the lights are coming on now, 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. Francis gets a jump start, so he will immediately start the race with a drive-through penalty. Well done for not driving away from everybody. Mike gets a fantastic start. There's contact behind between Killian, Louis, KLC, Kalek. So many other drivers off in the background. That is Louis that's cut turn 2. As a result, he's going to drop down the field. I don't know whether he's got any damage. Doesn't look like he's got any damage. Francis going sideways 3 into the braking zone of 3. Drivers going sideways everywhere. Aaron's in the wall at the exit of 4, coming through 5. Ate is going to try and go around his outside. Now on the inside for 6. Bit of contact with his side pod, but again, stays facing the right way. As again, we have another yellow flag in the middle sector. And this time it is Hayden. Unfortunate for Hayden, he wasn't happy with his qualifying and has now had a dreadful start to his race and is down at the back of the field. So Mike has got a brilliant start, leading from Killian in 2nd, Aaron in 3rd, Ate in 4th, Louis dropped down to 5th after some contact at the start. I did see a bit of somebody's front wing fly off at the start, but I don't know whose it was. Looks like it was Janna's, Jan Laxon. Or Kalek Rist, yeah. Missing half of his front wing. I don't know if he's going to have to pit to repair that pretty soon. As Louis is going to try and attack his teammate up the inside, who then gets a corner cutting penalty for missing the chicane, trying to defend from his teammate. And then Francis, just to top it all off, after jumping the start, has now got a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane while serving his drive-through. What fantastic luck that is. Ate currently sideways all the way through that straight. Don't know whether that was just him trying to get traction or whether that was the game being fun with it. Atkow's lost the back end, as has Aaron. Louis swiped around the outside of Atkow. Now is he going to go up the inside of Aaron into turn 6? No, he's not. He's going to sit behind him. But mistakes being made here by some of the drivers. Atkow down into 5th. Louis back up into 4th, which was where he started. Sitting behind KLC, is he going to try and make a move in the hairpin potentially? Yeah, bad exit from Aaron out of turn 9. Defending the inside line is Aaron, side by side. But it defends quite well as Ate is now going to take 4th place from Louis. Benefiting from the fact that Aaron forced Louis out a little bit wide. Now the two Mercedes going to go side by side down the back straight here. Who's going to yield? I would say that Ate's got the best position being on the inside line, but no, Ate backs out of it and lets his teammate take 4th place. But again, he's got a good exit out of the chicane. Could he try and look again up the inside of turn 1? Louis is looking very quick, but Ate's putting a lot of pressure on him. Ate's lunging up the inside. There's contact between the two Mercedes. Ate and Louis making contact into turn 1. I don't think either of them got any damage, but Ate has run wide as a result, and Louis back up into P4. Shane looks like he's going to try and have a go at Ate as well. They're going to be side by side through turn 5 and 6. Ate's spun and Shane is in the wall. Don't know what happened there. Looked like Ate just maybe caught the grass on the exit of turn 3. And it sent him spinning and then he had nowhere to go. And Shane has been put in the wall as a result as well. I think he's avoided damage. We also have Bart who's round out of turn 5 as well. So that's another mistake made. Mistakes everywhere in these intermediate conditions. These intermediate conditions causing carnage for the drivers. Nearest gap between the two drivers now on track though as a result is between Leon and Jan for P5. As Ate has a 5-second stop-go penalty for ignoring yellow flags, so must have overtaken Bart under yellow flags and got the legal overtake. But yeah, absolute carnage in the first 2 laps. I mean, unfortunately it seems as though we've lost all of our battles as a result, but not really sure what else more I can say about that. Mike has just been given a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. He must have locked up into turn 1 and shafted turn 2 completely. But he's been given a 10-second time penalty for that. That's interesting. That could really come and hamper him towards the end of the race. As Shane is catching up quick to the back of Ben for 7th. Shane, who is one of Mitchell's favourites for the podium, is currently down in position 8. Almost going a little bit sideways as well with Shane through turn 5. And Ben's caught up to the back of Leon as well. Hello, Edward. Thank you for tuning in. So yeah, this is now becoming a proper battle for position 6 here between Leon, Ben and Shane, who's on the back of it. Leon made a couple of mistakes, I think, on this lap because he has lost at least 2 seconds to Jan on this lap. Ben sitting behind him. He's going to try and get a good slipstream out of the hairpin and down towards the final chicane. To be fair, Edward, you almost missed it because he did make contact with his teammate and with somebody else as well into turn 1 on lap 1. Somehow he's still in 4th position. Ben's going side by side with Leon, but Leon defends it. Never an easy place to overtake though through the final chicane. And Shane's right on the back of this battle as well. Oh, Shane's lunged up the inside of Ben into turn 1. Thought better of it. Yes, Edward, I will be, but I'll be on the wheel, so I'll be slow. But yeah, Shane launching a move up the inside of turn 1 on Ben. But Ben defended well around the outside. I thought Ben at first was going to try and make a move on Leon. But he didn't attempt it. We've got Louis right on the back of Aaron here for position 3 as well, the final podium position. Again defending to the inside from Aaron. Last time this happened, there was contact between the two. Louis trying to get the best exit possible so he can overtake him before the chicane. But we know that Aaron's going to defend the inside again, he always does. Edward, I was shit on 2016 as well, I don't know what you're on about. As Louis gets a corner cutting penalty. Didn't look like he took too much track there at all, but the game thought otherwise. Leon as well. After making a mistake, Leon's made a mistake through the chicane, must have body hopped, and he's lost 2 positions to Ben and to Shane. Disaster for Leon, who's now finding himself down in P8. Mate, yeah, I could make some overtakes, but I wasn't that quick. So if Leon's going to keep making mistakes like that, he's not going to be challenging for a good points finish. It's not the first mistake he's made in this race either. It's the first one I've witnessed, but it's not the first one he's made. He's still got Louis on the back of Aaron for position 3. Again, Louis using a lot of the track there. Louis wants to be careful. He doesn't want to be picking up too many penalties. I know that Aaron already has a penalty as well, but he does have to be careful, because penalties are a big factor in around this track. Very easy to cut corners. Turn 1, turn 3, turn 4, turn 8 and 9, the final chicane, all very easy to cut. As Ben and Shane are side by side coming out of the hairpin. Shane looked like he tried to make a move, but Ben managed to get it back on the traction. And now Shane trying to get in the slipstream of Ben as they come towards the final chicane. And Ben holds on, but Shane's going to want to try and get a good exit to maybe make a move into turn 1. He gets a decent exit, but it looks like, unless he wants to really go balls to the wall, which he is, Shane going balls to the wall into turn 1. There's a little bit of contact between the two, but Ben's going to hold on to position 6. Well defended by Ben Coles. Position 6 is still his for the time being, but Shane will be fuming underneath that helmet. Oh, look at that from Louis. Fantastic chicane of turn 6 and 7 in comparison to Aaron, who's doing brilliantly well in P3 at the moment, but Louis is on his back like a vulture, really, just waiting for him to make a mistake. We know that Louis got the pace, but the longer he stays behind Aaron, the more of a gap he's got to make up on Killian and Mike in front. Oh, there we go. The switchback works perfectly. I was looking away from the screen because of a chat message popping up, but the switchback perfectly executed by Louis there. Swoops through and takes third position away from Aaron. But Aaron looks like he might try moving again up the chicane. No, Louis holds on. But a bad exit from Louis. Aaron could be trying to attack him back here into turn 1 and 2 as we start lap 8. Trying to hold it around the outside. A little bit of contact. Aaron's pushed a little bit wide and gets a penalty for track extending. But Louis holds on to third. Some good little side-by-side battles going on here, as we have seen Francis, Shane, Ben and Hayden all in the pits. Seems very early, unless they're making the bold decision for dry tyres, which they have. They've made the early switch onto dry tyres, so their Jess must have told them something. Ate is also in the pits for a set of dries. Not sure whether this is too early for the dries at the moment, because it is still raining. Suppose we'll have to wait and see. Keep an eye on the deltas. Keep an eye on that gap between Clay and Yana. DRS is enabled. I didn't see that pop up in the bottom left corner, so if it is, then the dries will be the faster tyre. We'll see what Mike does. Mike staying out on the intermediates. That's interesting. Killian pits for dries, but gets a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. That's the second driver to have had that so far in this race. Louis also into the pits to change his tyres, but Aaron staying out. Yana also pitting as well, so Mike and Aaron the only two yet not to pit for dry tyres by the looks of it, and that looked like an unsafe release if ever I've seen one. Louis rejoined into the path of Yana. Louis has fitted the soft tyres, so he's going to try and go to the end of the race, I'd have thought, on those. Also the soft tyres fitted to Killian's car. Shane on the ultra softs. Ben also on the ultra softs. As Francis sets the fastest lap of the race on the soft tyres of 1:22.0, so that proves that the dry tyres are the faster tyre. Yana also pitting for the soft, so a lot of these drivers will be trying to go to the end of the race, as Ate is round through turn 1 and 2. Facing the wrong way, he's going to be no use facing that direction. But he will hold on to position 9 for the time being, as Hayden's had to pit again. Not quite sure what happened to Hayden, whether he made a mistake and lost his wing. As, yeah, there we go, Bart puts in a 21.4. The lap times are just going to get faster and faster now as the track is going to start drying out, and considerably drying out. Ben on the back of Shane. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. The only battle under a second. As Aaron finally pits. Mike is also pitted, but this could be close between himself and Killian coming out of the pits. Killian's going to get him easily here. Yeah, Killian takes the lead of the race. Mike's decision to stay out one further lap has benefited him massively. Mike, of course, also with that 10-second penalty that he picked up for making a mistake into turn 1. So Mike's patience has not been his downfall here. He's now going to try and overtake Killian back on track again. He was leading the race by 1.5 seconds. He's now 2.5 seconds behind in second place. Disaster for Mike. Should have seen the drivers behind, and especially his teammate pitting. Surely he should have pitted as well. Logic would have made sense for that, but I suppose he must have thought the Inters had enough grip. Ate picks up another penalty. I will go through the penalties at some point, just not quite yet. So we have Killian leading the race from Michael Romanidis in second, Louis Welsh in third. With a great move on KLC on the switch back to take himself into third. KLC, Aaron Collingwood fourth. Shane Odiemi fifth, championship leader. Ahead of Ben Coles in sixth. We have Jan Laxon in seventh, not far behind this battle for fifth. Francis McGinn in eighth. Ate Kauppinen in ninth. Hayden Tutt in 10th. And Bart rounding out the classified drivers as Leon has called it a day and retired. Two more penalties popped up there, one for Francis, and I didn't spot who the other one was for, but we had two penalties pop up there. Be interesting to see the penalties at the end of the race, how many seconds worth of penalties they've got, because of course the race director will just tell you how many penalties they've got, won't tell you how many seconds worth of penalties they've got. Because of course Mike's got a 10-second one, I think somebody picked up a 5-second one. Zeta Mercedes 1:18.1, so the lap time's going to get faster and faster. And these guys on ultra softs could really be in a good position. Oh, it says they're on ultra softs, but they're not. Tony, it's because we have a lot of drivers that either choose not to race all the time, even though they're supposed to be committing to racing every race, which we are keeping a track of, or people are away. I know that Lakitu's away at the moment. I know that a couple of drivers have got exams as well, which probably doesn't help them. But the one battle that was on track was between Ben and Shane. Has kind of just dissipated into nothingness. Shane in 5th, 1.6 seconds out of Clay now. On the he is on the softer super soft tyres, even though the game says he's on ultras. But Mike not able to catch up to Killian really. Gap still at 2.2 seconds. But Mike still has a lot of fuel in the tank. Killian doesn't, so Mike could start to push at some point, as he has got 3.5 laps left of fuel. As Bart puts in another fastest lap of a 1:16.9. Killian then puts in a 16.3. And Mike is not able to beat that. So Killian at the moment showing some really solid pace after jumping Mike in the pits on that switch between wets and dries. That's after, of course, Mike made the big mistake of staying out for one lap too many. While we don't really have any gaps, I will have a look at the penalties and see what we got. Killian picked up a penalty on lap 1, so that was a very aggressive first lap from him. He currently has 2 penalties and a stop-go. Mike has a 10-second penalty and 2 warnings. Louis has 1 penalty. Aaron has 1 penalty. Shane has 2 and 2 warnings, so he's got to be really careful. Ben has just the one penalty. Jana has nothing, penalty-wise. Look at that from Francis. Warnings everywhere. 4 penalties so far for Francis. This is awful for Francis. 3 penalties and a stop-go for Atkal. Hayden doing a brilliant job, though, at the moment. 1 warning for Hayden. He's only just picked that up on this lap. And just the 1 penalty for Bart as well. Shane's just picked up another penalty. He needs to be careful on his aggression, as Louis puts in the fastest lap of the race of a 1:15.5. Track looks like it's as dry as it's going to get, as Francis picks up another penalty and Shane cuts another corner. I know the track limits are a lot aren't quite as strict in the race as they are in qualifying, but it's still such an easy track to corner car. Atkal again goes fastest with a 15.4. Jana getting very out of shape out of turn 4. Louis picks up his 2nd penalty of the race, but he's in clear track on his own, so it seems a bit weird that he did that. Must have been trying to push too hard to catch up to the back of Mike. Bart with a 15.0. God, this commentary's going to kill me. Real late braking from Jana there into the hairpin. They're currently saving fuel. Is Mike pushing on fuel? Yes, he is now, as he's just putting the fastest lap of the race of a 1:14.7. Little bit of a lock up into turn 1. The gap's now 1.8 seconds. Because of that 10-second penalty, Mike's gonna struggle. Not sure whether that 10-second penalty is legitimate or not, though. He must have just made a mistake and taken the shorter route through turn 2. Kalleck's going to want to close his gap to Ben in front to under a second, which he has just done in the braking zone for that corner. But he's going to want to keep it within a second for the back straight and the home straight, because it's of course a double DRS around this track. And DRS does make a difference around this track. A very high top speed circuit, this one. And Zena Mercedes is the first driver to dive into the 1:13s. Gap's back over a second again. Kalleck's only got 3 corners left to try and get back within a second. Not sure whether he was within the second at the DRS detection point, which is of course at the bridge just before the middle sector. No, he wasn't, as Mike has just put in a 1:13.9, another fastest lap, closed in half a second on Killian on that lap. So Mike is really pushing hard. Keep an eye on Mike, because he really is going all guns blazing for it. Killian's tapped the wall at the exit of turn 4, that could cost him a little bit of time. Mike could be within a second within the end of this lap. He keeps the pace he's showing up. Kalleck's now just 0.6 of a second behind Ben as well. Zeta Mercedes 13.4. Love this helicopter cam. You get a great view of what the drivers are doing all the way across the track. But yeah, Jan right on the back of Ben for position 6. Just half a second between them, so he will definitely have DRS unless he makes a catastrophic error here. Which he doesn't. So Jana's going to have DRS. There is the detection point. They've just gone past it now. Jana's going to have DRS down the back straight to try and catch up to the back of Clay, as Ate is out of the race from 10th. Not quite sure what happened there, but that is going to promote Bart to the final point scoring position. Kalleck catching up on the DRS. He's just got to remain patient, really. DRS wide open again as Bart picks up another penalty. Mike is also within a second as Jana picks up a penalty for cutting turn 1, I would assume. I was looking away because I was looking at the gap between Mike and Killian for P1. And Killian's just picked up a penalty through turn 8 and 9, as has Michael through the exact same corner. Bart let them through by the looks of it. But I still want to keep on this battle for 6th between Ben and Yana, as the gap is only 0.4 of a second. Mike is within that DRS, but he won't catch up enough to really make a move yet. So it's still 0.8 of a second, which is quite a long way in Formula 1. Especially in terms of track space on this track. Yana just half a second behind. Gonna have DRS. Louis just gone the fastest lap of the race with a 1:13.1, so he could maybe challenge Mike and Killian by the end of the race, because we're only just into the second half of it. Aaron puts in a 1:12.8. But Mike is now only 0.4 of a second behind. But he has got Bart slipstreaming in behind, so Bart's just trying to use this as an advantage to gain as much time on Hayden as possible, I'd have thought. Because of course Bart is a back marker, he doesn't want to be making too many rash decisions, as Mike is now right on the back of Killian. Killian missing the apex completely to the hairpin. Could that cost him? Could that cost him the lead coming into the chicane? Mike's going to open DRS. Depends on what kind of wings they're running. Killian happens to save fuel as well, which is going to help him. A little bit of a corner cut there by the looks of it in the first part of the chicane though. And Mike's got a brilliant exit out of the final chicane. Could he make a dive into turn 1? No, he's not going to. No, he's going to sit behind. Stays in second place. Well defended by Killian, making his car as wide as possible in the middle of the track. It's exactly what you want to do if you want to keep hold of position. Because of course you can't swerve right or left, just sit your car in the middle and make the driver behind choose which way they want to go. Francis picks up a penalty, but what is going on with Bart? Looking like he was trying to make a move on Mike. But because Mike's in a battle of his own, he can't really be trying to fight him for position. I think if Mike was in his own space on track, I'd understand letting Bart through. But because he's in a battle of his own, it's not really worth it. Again missing the apex, so Killian just trying to get good exits by the looks of it, just trying to get as much top speed down the back straight as possible, as he knows that Mike's going to have DRS. Which again he opens. As Francis is out of the race. Looks like he's called it a day. Probably enough penalty for him. So we're now down to just 9 drivers left here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Mike is not as close this lap as he was last lap on Killian. So a much better exit from the final chicane for him. But Mike could be in a position to make a move at some point on this lap before the DRS straight. As, yeah, Killian, I thought he just tapped the wall a bit. Killian and Mike side by side coming into turn 6. Mike breaks that a little bit earlier. Killian defending, but Mike gets a good exit. And again defending the inside. Killian now cannot make another move. It means Mike's locked on the outside line. And again can't make the move. Poor exit from Killian. Mike's going to have DRS even if he makes the move or not here. As he is behind. He's going to try and sweep around the outside of the hairpin. Killian locks up a little bit, as does Mike. Mike sits behind, but he is so close now, and he's going to have DRS down the straight. Oh, a little bit of weaving going on between the two of them. Killian realising he had his nose in front and could swerve across the other side of the track. There is contact in the braking zone for the final chicane. And again, oh, and Killian's in the wall. Never a place you want to go side by side is in the final chicane, and Killian is in the wall and out of the race, into the wall of champions. Mike and Killian side by side through the final chicane. And it's ended badly. It was going to end badly for one of them, but it ended badly for Killian. It's unfortunate that, because of course with these new wider cars, you cannot get 2 cars side by side, especially not through a section like that. Or if you can, it'll lose you a lot of time. So that's now given Mike the lead of the race. Louis only 5 seconds behind though, because of course Mike does have that 10-second penalty. Shane is on the back of Aaron again for the 2nd time this race. Yana still on the back of Ben as well, but Shane's been pulling away very quickly from that pair on his super soft tyres. Shane may have to pit again though, because he did pit on lap 8 for these tyres. I think it was lap 8 or lap 9. Ooh, Shane getting a bit sideways on the exit of the hairpin. So I think it's allowed Aaron to get a good enough exit to stay in front here through this DRS straight. Has indeed. So Aaron stays in front and is currently holding on to a podium in his first race in F1. Oh, Kalek looked like he was going to try and make a move there on Ben into turn 1. He was right up his backside, just a tenth behind him. But Ben holds on again. Janne's going to be frustrated underneath that helmet in the Renault to not be able to overtake. P5 is on the cards here for the guy who is currently 5th in the championship as well. And Shane is now just 0.2 of a second behind Aaron on the run down into the hairpin. Shane trying to make a lunge. That was a very ballsy move from Shane there into the hairpin. Again on the power a bit too early. And spending too much time sideways there in the traction zone. Which again has kind of hindered his exit and his run down to the final chicane. Oh, whoa, 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 Shane's in the wall. Big mistake from Shane coming out of the final chicane. Could that be his race over? Yes, it is. He's called it a day and retired. I don't see why. He could have still got a good, decent 6th place finish. But Shane's race is over. All he needs to do is one more lap with no front wing. And then pitted to change his wing for a set of super softs again. And he could have stayed in 7th. Which still is 6 points. But no, he's decided to call it a day. Your prediction was almost right, Mitchell. Your top 2 are currently right. And with Louis catching up to Mike, this could get quite tasty by the end of the race. 4.4 the gap with 12 laps to go. And Kalek is still half a second behind Clay. Francis is out of the session. So we've got 8 drivers left. 7 drivers left. This is the only real battle going on track at the moment between Ben and Janne for P4. Was P5, but after a mistake had made it P5. Or made it P4, sorry. Janne having a look, but again not going for the move. He needs to try and just stick his nose in there, because at the moment he's just sitting behind Clay and not getting anywhere. He clearly seems to be faster. Mitchell will not be rerunning Monaco because we kind of want to keep all 3 calendars in a line. We don't want to have to cancel a race in one tier to then be 1 race behind. Oh, sideways for Janne through turn 9. That was so close. Scary moment. His arse must have been falling out there. But again, doesn't lose him too much time, so he is still behind Clay. But again, sideways mix at the hairpin. Kalek trying to push too hard to make a move here on Ben. He wants to try and curb those mistakes, really. Because the harder he's pushing, the more mistakes he's making, and that's losing him more time in the long run. But Ben is looking unlikely to make a mistake. Very consistent driver. He showed that last season. This season he's not raced as much as he did last season, but he knows he's got good racecraft. We know he's got good racecraft. Otherwise he wouldn't be in the top AOR tier. Oh, tapping the wall there on the exit of turn 9. Ben almost making a mistake, because that's quite a dangerous little curve that one is in turn 9. If you catch too much of it on the inside, you could spin. If you run too wide, it can make you spin as well. Janne again with DRS. He's doing well to fuel save during the most of the lap, and then he's got rich mix to use down the back straight. As Louis has picked up another penalty for corner cutting, this time through turn 3 and 4, which is where most people I think have been picking up their corner cutting warnings, and the final chicane. Again, Janne a little bit sideways. Sometimes sideways is the fastest way, but not really in Formula 1. In rally, probably. As that is the end of Bart's race as well. So we're now down to just 6 runners. Michael leads Louis, who then is in front of Aaron, who's currently holding on to a podium in his debut in F1. Fantastic drive from him so far. Ben is in 4th, but he's under pressure from Janne in 5th in the Renault. Braking so late there, Janne, in the into the hairpin, almost hitting the back of Ben. That could have been an absolute disaster. And Hayden rounding out the drivers that are still running in 6th place. And unfortunately as well for Bart, he hasn't completed 90% of the race, so he will not be a classified finisher at the end. Good exit out of the chicane for Janne. He's going to get the run on Ben into turn 1. Could this finally be the move to move into P4? Side by side, gets the move done. Ben out wide on the grass. Kalik finally into 4th position. He's been sat behind him for about 10-15 laps now and has finally got in front. So 4th place is now his. Finnish driver currently 5th in the championship, F2 champion. Overtakes Ben, who was 3rd in F1 last season. Great move from him. But unfortunately, I reckon that might spell the end of the only on-track battle we had. Yeah, poor ZR has made a few mistakes though in this race. He made 1 in qualifying, he's made quite a few in the race as well. I think I saw him pit twice within the space of 2 laps, as Mike has just put in his personal best lap of the race and the fastest lap of the race with a 1:12.6 with, what, 19 lap old tyres, I think? So that's impressive from him. 1 at 12.6, fastest lap of the race. Means his gap to Louis is now 4.5 seconds. Let's check the penalties while we're at it. Don't want to check Francis's because he's not in the race. Mike has that 10-second penalty and then 1 other penalty, so that's 13 seconds for him. Louis is on 12. Aaron is on 9 seconds. Janne currently on 3. Mike tapping the wall there on the exit of turn 9. Ben is on just 6 seconds worth of penalties, not bad from him. Hayden's now starting to pick up a few more penalties, but he is on for his fastest lap of the race. By some distance, could well be the fastest lap of the race. By some distance, but I think he is on the ultra soft tyres. Yeah, there we go, 1:11.2. Fastest lap of the race on the ultra soft tyres for Hayden Tutt. In 6th position. As Janne is now coming up to the back marker of the Williams of Bart. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce his surname. I tried it once in qualifying and I don't want to try it again. But I think that fastest lap from Mike has kind of deterred Louis a little bit. Louis has 1 second less worth of penalties than Mike does, so if he can get within a second, he could take the win. 12 seconds for Louis, 13 for Mike. Mike's now just going to try and keep calm and not get another penalty. Surprisingly, Clay is still within that second gap of Janne though. Despite how much faster Janne was looking while behind him. Must just be the slipstream effect around this track. A little bit of a lock up into turn 6. Just half a second between the two of them. Big lock up for Ben though into the hairpin. Both drivers sideways on exit. Janne's done a lot of that. DRS wide open though for the Ferrari. Again, another decent run through the chicane for both drivers. There is some debris on that home straight. If we had simulation damage on, some of these drivers could well have punctures. As it stands, that is not to be. Ben just half a second behind Yana. So again, this battle could stay spiced up for the rest of this race, as Ate is out of the session, but he retired a long time ago. Mike's gap is now 4.7 to Louis, so he's pulling away bit by bit. But Aaron's losing time, and Kalik isn't really gaining too much on him. As there is another penalty picked up by Hayden. Is that a Mercedes? It was initially when the game first came out, Mitch, and it was, I think. I don't know whether it still is, because I don't run the simulation damage on my career mode. I'm honestly not too sure. I know it used to be when the game was first out. Just the only thing really going on the track. Mike might have made a mistake, or he might be fuel saving. Yeah, he's now just onto half a lap of fuel, so Louis has been doing some fuel saving. Mike's now just got half a lap of fuel left, over fuel. Louis got 0.7. Everybody running low on fuel now, apart from Bart, but he is no longer in the session. Sideways for Louis, but Louis is going to hold on to second. Oh, I'm not sure whether Falcon's watching this stream, but if he is, you could well trigger him with that, Mitchell. I doubt it, as he hasn't commented on the stream yet. But Ben again, still close to Yana. But at no point has he been close enough to even attempt the overtake. This is the smallest the gap has been, I think, is at about 0.4 of a second since Yana overtook him. But with only 3.5 laps to go, Ben's not got many chances left to try and overtake the Finnish driver. Louis catching up quick to Mike though. Not sure whether Mike's tyres are going off or not. They look like they're in okay condition, as do Louis. Mike might just be taking it easy. But you can't afford to be taking it too easy, because if Louis catches up too much, you might overtake him. Oh, Clay really early on the throttle out of the hairpin. But again, only 0.4 of a second behind. Kalik Rist must be running much lower wings than Kalik Rist is in the wall. At the Wall of Champions, almost losing it completely. I don't think he got any damage. I'll have to wait and see, but that could well cost Kalik Rist 4th place. Could it be a Kalik bottle? Clay now right on the back of him. Swerving left, swerving right. Not going to go for it into turn 3 and 4. Louis just picked up yet another penalty. That could spell the end of his race. Or his chances of the win, at least. As that is his 5th penalty of the race. But that mistake from Kalik has allowed Ben a sniff with just 2 and a bit laps to go. Mike is about to start his penultimate lap of the race. Ben's got a chance here. Which one of these has more penalties? I think they both have 1. Yana has 1, Clay, Ben has 2. kind of tricky, this situation now, because I don't know whether Ben will know how many penalties Jan has got. Jan will know that Ben's got 2 penalties now, because I know he's watching the stream. But of course, you won't want to let him through, because if Clay can then get a 3-second gap, then he'll lose that 4th position. So it stands at the moment, 4th place is safe with Jana or Kallekrist. Ben again, right on the back of him. It's just 0.3 of a second, the gap. Could Ben be saving it for the final lap to make the lunge on Jana? Not got much time left, as the race leader Mike is on his final lap of the race now. Again, Ben not quite close enough to make the move. He's going to have to try and do it on this lap if he wants to get that track position. Don't think he knows that Kallec's got less penalties than him. For Kallek to only have 1 penalty, that is very, very impressive. Yeah, again, Ben sitting behind. Oh, a little bit too eager on the throttle. That's his chance blown. Ben has completely blown his chance there at 4th place. At least on track. As we're going to spectate the race leader, Michael Romanidis, who's going to cross the line to win in Canada and to retain the lead of the Drivers' Championship, or regain the lead of the Drivers' Championship over his teammate Shane. Louis is going to cross the line in a brilliant second after carnage at the start saw him down the field. Aaron in 3rd place in the Toro Rosso on his debut in F1 is going to come through to take a magnificent podium. Proving us right in putting him up there after a dominant start to F3 for him. Jana's going to cross the line in 4th after defending from Ben. Good race for him, but oh, Jana's taken 3rd. Aaron's penalties have blown him his chance at 3rd place. I wasn't even looking at how many penalties Aaron had. But that's cost him his podium. So Jana takes the podium position. Aaron finishes 4th, Ben in 5th. And Hayden's going to cross the line in 6th and be the final finisher. So unfortunately only 50% of the field finished the race. We had 12 starters, 6 finishers. And the Red Bull's back on the top of the podium again. The Red Bull of Michael. His 3rd win of the season. Pretty dominant for him so far. Of course, didn't race in round 3, which was Spain. Wasn't here for that. Missed that one, but he's won every single race he's taken part in this season so far. So currently leads the championship on 75 points. Impressive 2nd place from Louis. And then 3rd place goes to Kallekrist, Jan Laxon in the Renault, which will move him ahead of his teammate in the Drivers' Championship up to 4th position. Good penalties, everybody. I'm going to try and get the podium sitters into the party. If anybody has any questions for them, please pop them in the chat. Right, let's see what we got. Mike, Kallek, and VSR Louis as well. There we go, the podium sitters have been invited to the party. Well, there's only 3 viewers at the moment, but if anybody wants to put any questions in the chat for the podium sitters, then please go ahead and do so. To speaking of the podium sitters, they're the only 3 left in the lobby. Calic is in, well done, mate.
Hello.
Let's wait and see if Louis or Mike want to join. Louis is not joining, so that's one of the podium drivers missed out. Wanted to see if I could get your opinion on the crash at the start. Here is Michael, the race winner. Hello, well done.
Hello, thank you.
Your race seemed like it was plain sailing at the start, but talk us through your decision to pit that lap later onto the dry tyres, because it cost you the lead.
Honestly, it looked so wet. I was honestly scared to go on the dries, although I heard people in the party saying it was good, like the grip was good. But I felt that either way, even if I lost the lead, I felt, judging on my qualifying pace, that I could catch KB, who jumped me on the pit phase, that I could catch him either way. But actually wasn't the case. I actually struggled quite a bit. But yeah, I think, I don't know, it was that incident obviously with KB on the mid part. But yeah, I think all race was kinda, I don't know, anticlimactic. Some phases that were interesting but ended quite quickly. But yeah, I'll take it. Pretty confusing race. Yeah, that's it really.
Confusing is a good way to put it. I think the battle for the lead was effectively over when you and KB had your little incident into the chicane. It's not a great place to try and overtake, if I'm honest, but
yeah.
What happened at the end of the day. And it kind of ruined a nice tasty battle for the lead.
Yeah, indeed, we would have a good battle, but thing is, I was ahead. My car was ahead of KB's, so I don't think it was either of us' fault. But it was frustrating, like, for both of us. I think both of us wanted a good battle. So.
Yeah, I was spectating KB at the time of the incident. It looked like he didn't make that much contact with the wall on the outside, but I think just because he tapped it with his right front, it just blew his right front straight off. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, it was just squeezed. I don't think it was any way out. At least with no front wing, he would have got out of that. But yeah, what happened. Cannot change that.
Calic, over to you. Well done on the podium, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
I would ask Louis some questions, but of course he's not here in the party. He doesn't want to join. Talk us through your battle with Clay, because that was kind of the turning point in the race once you finally got past him. Because it looked like you were so much faster than him throughout the 10-15 laps you were behind him.
Yeah, I just couldn't get past. That's it.
You just couldn't get...
save the tires, save the fuel a bit, and
I was a bit confused as to why you just didn't go for a balls to the wall overtake and just lunge it up his inside, because you were clearly faster than him at that point in the race. So it did kind of confuse me a little bit. I must also commend you on your track limit obeying. Only 1 penalty compared to everybody else picking up multiple. I think you only have 1 technically, Mike, didn't you?
Yeah, well, except that 10-second penalty.
Was it what I thought? Or did you lock up into turn 1 and just take the short road into turn 2?
Yeah, that's it. But I actually lost time to KB, so again, I don't know why that happened. But I still won the race somehow. I didn't know if you expected
it doesn't matter. Louis had 5 penalties, I think.
Yeah. I expected him to have many, but we got quite lucky either way.
5 is quite a lot, but yeah, Calic, your obedience to track limits gave you that podium because Aaron was 5 seconds ahead of you.
yeah, he was.
Bit gutting for him to be denied a podium in his first race, but
yeah, I thought he had some penalties, man. I just forgot.
I wasn't actually keeping an eye on his penalties all that much. I didn't realise he had so many. I think he had 4.
Yeah.
Which would have cost him 9 seconds, and he finished. No, he had 6 because he finished ahead of Clay. So he'd have had 2 penalties. 6 seconds. I don't think I've got any questions from the stream, so I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. We will see you in the next race, which I believe is Austria. It is indeed, yes, Austria next week. We'll see you then.